Well, church, I wanted to take a minute and tell you about one way that we've really seen in our family God use us as parents and use me as a father to call out destiny from our own kids. And it has to do with, it took place probably three or 4 years ago. One night after all three of my boys were asleep and I was in their room and checking on them, and I decided to pray for them one more time. And while I was praying for them, the Lord dropped prophetic words or blessings into my heart as a dad for each one of my boys. And the words were these: that my oldest son Sam is a focused leader, that my middle boy Andrew is passionately compassionate, and that my youngest boy Levi is an ambassador of joy. What's been amazing for my wife and I as our boys have grown in the last couple of years, how we've seen those very things come to pass in their lives. And at the same time, we've seen how if they don't choose to submit their heart to God, how those strengths can become weaknesses very quickly. But in times when we are trying to discern how to shape our kids, in my middle child, it can be very emotional, but it's um, because he's so passionate. He has a very, very tender heart, and there are times where we've driven by houses and that have been fallen apart, or buildings that have been condemned, and he doesn't know the difference. And there have been times where he said, "Mom, can we go back? I've been saving my money and I want to give it to that family so that they can fix up their house." Because that's what's in his heart. He's passionately for people. When he found out about the disaster in Haiti in January, soon as he heard about it and heard that there were kids that were homeless, he wanted to give all of his money and anything that he could um, to help those kids. He's passionately compassionate. My youngest son, Levi, will go into a room and immediately people will be laughing, joy. It's like a little bundle of joy just entered into the room. Um, and I know that God's going to use that as Levi, finds his strength in the joy of the Lord, that he's going to take the love of God and the joy of God wherever he goes. My oldest son, Sam, can be so focused and so determined. Sometimes he can have a one-track mind, but at the same time, God wants to use that focus to lead people to Jesus and things that glorify God. But it really has been part of what God is doing in me as a father and my wife as a mother, to help draw those things out as we build them up with appropriate words in due season that gives grace to their lives, that we know God's given that to us so that we can be a blessing to them and help them become everything that God has called them to be. So every day as parents, we're reaching into that backpack of destiny that each one of them have and pulling out what God's destiny is for their life and putting it on display and encouraging them and continuing to build them up so that they can be what God's called them to be. And whether you're a parent or a boss or a coach or a teacher, God will give you his eyes and his vision for the people that come across your path so that you too can reach into their backpack of destiny and pull things out that they never will be able to pull out on their own as you speak life, as you speak words of edification to them. So, as you go throughout your week this week, look for opportunities, and don't just get caught up in what somebody's backpack looks like on the outside, because that's what men do. But look with God's eyes, because when you look with God's eyes, you'll be able to reach into the backpack of destiny and pull out words of edification and hope that will encourage them and help them become everything that God has called them to be. God bless you, church. I'll see you this weekend.